Good morning, everyone. My name is Marcus Wardrop from the Williamsburg Gazette, and I'm here with our headmistress, Mrs. Kirk. And we just wanted to do a quick interview of her today and find out a little more about her. And Ms. Kirk, you've been the headmistress of Williamsburg for about a year, 2 years?
So not quite that long, not quite a year. So this is my first school year, but I did start last, a little earlier than I'm coming almost a year. Can't believe it.
Okay. Now, real quick, I'm sure that's, I don't know if that's a different experience for you or not, but what is something that you really enjoyed about being working with Williamsburg and being more particularly being the headmistress of Williamsburg? What's something that you really enjoyed?
Okay, yes. So I absolutely just love working with the students, and I love working with young adults, seeing them as in the high school as they're starting to get a sense of really who they are and their own power. They're starting to self-govern and to get a sense of, here's the way that I want to make the world a better place. Here's the way that I'm going to lead out in my own life, and their own talents and everything are becoming more apparent for them. And so I just think it's a really powerful, important time in anyone's life. And it's just an honor to work with students as they go through this part of their journey.
So if today you were going to be leaving Williamsburg, heaven forbid, but if there's one last thing, or one important message you could give to all the students at Williamsburg, what would it be?
Oh, that's an easy one. Definitely it would be, I want students to make the connection that learning how to think, so learning to think critically, which is not something that is generally taught or is even the objective in education in the West today. Learning how to think is a tool that is so incredibly powerful that it will affect change with everything you touch. So if you're able to sort of work hard and take original text and do the work, and you have an unlocked mind from that experience, you're able to really think critically, that skill, the power of that skill is more valuable than almost anything you could gain on this earth. So you may have, the greatest heart, and you want to go out and affect change and build an awesome family and use good principles there. If you know how to think, it will magnify that 1,000 times. Your ability to, everything you look at, assess, and experience is magnified by an ability to think. And so I really want our students to see that they, have a responsibility to lead out in their own homes, to use good principles, and I don't mean like you have to become the president. When we talk about leadership, it doesn't mean, the next president, Marcus, whatever it is. Like that may be your path, which would be awesome. We need it. But it means leading in our own homes. That is so powerful. Great mothers, fathers, siblings, aunts, and uncles, and leading out in whatever area, business, education, whatever it is that your talents call you to do, being able to think is going to make you a world class sort of, person in that role. Whatever role is right for your life and for your mission. So I just want students to make that connection so that they know that it is so important what they're doing. The hard work they're putting in is going to pay off 1,000 times for them in the future.
Okay. On a lighter note, just real quick, just to get to know you more personally, there are a few questions that came up. What's your favorite book? A lot of Williamsburgers really enjoy reading, and on our Facebook page, about every week or so, we put out a book of the week. What's your favorite book?
Yeah, so I always have a close tie between Les Mis and Anna Karenina by Tolstoy. So, and Anna Karenina actually wins for me, and the reason is not actually the overall narrative, which I think is fascinating. Tolstoy is fabulous at understanding human nature and expressing that in the nuances of the journey of life. But it's actually the character Levin. He has, I'm a very spiritual person, and he has this personal spiritual conversion that is so authentic, and feels like the only time that I've really read about, and I said, that feels very real to me. I understand that experience, and he resonated with me as a character. So I just value how understood I felt reading the journey of Levin, and how that sort of bolstered my, so I am just a huge Tolstoy fan. So I'll have to go with Anna Karenina.
I'm not very familiar with Anna Karenina or any of Tolstoy's works. And you said it was Anna Karenina?
Yes.
Okay. I'll have to write that down, look into it, because Les Mis is one of my favorite stories. I find it a difficult read, but it's definitely a really cool story. And it's one of my mother's favorites, and she loves Les Mis.
Great.
Okay, so this one might be even a little more lighthearted question. If you could pick like one animal that you could be, what animal would you choose?
If I could pick one animal I could be, let's see. I growing up always loved elephants. We took a trip to Africa to do a safari a few years ago, and I was so astounded by just like the power and the beauty of the lions. And so I know that's kind of a common one, but there's just so much dignity and beauty to them. So I might choose a lion. I don't know. That's a good question, or I might just be a household dog because they're adorable and they've got a pretty good life.
That's true. I work for a pet store, and some of those dogs, I'm like, man, those dogs eat better than I do. Yeah. Not that I would want to eat the food that they're being fed, but just a little more like to know you personally. Outside of Williamsburg and teaching, and outside of being the headmistress, what is something that you really enjoy doing? What does Miss Kirk like to do on her day off?
Yeah. So I would say I'm kind of I like to sort of keep it in the I know a lot of our students have read The Powerful Engagement, and the idea of like you need to be balanced. You need to have spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional balance and output and input. So I would say like I'm kind of a balancer. Like I like to get some good time, spiritual time in, and take a couple hours for some solo time and just sort through my goals, that kind of thing. And then I love to get out and do some yoga and some Pilates, some hiking. I absolutely love the ocean. That's like one of my favorite things in life. And then mental, I love to get in there and study, work really hard at my studies, and then bonding socially. So I think like what I try and focus my time that's not work on is just balancing those 4 areas and doing really high quality things that pay off in all 4.
Okay. I wish I could say that I was that well balanced. Now you said, you said you really like the ocean. Do you live nearby the ocean, or do you just like to visit, or?
Yeah, so we just moved to San Diego, which is like a major life bonus for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, my husband got a job out here. I'm like, okay. So we're actually moving. We're waiting on our new apartment, but it'll be about 4 blocks from the beach in La Jolla. So it's one of my dreams coming true here. But usually I don't live near we lived in Atlanta, we lived in Washington, D.C., and but every summer I would always go at least once. Like summer is not a summer for me without a beach trip. So I do try and get out to the beach when I can. Okay,
that is really cool. I think I've only been to the ocean once, but it was a really cool experience. I guess I qualify as a serious, what's the term, landlubber?
There we go.
I certainly think that there could be really cool experiences with the ocean. I just don't have any experiences with it to a degree. So, is there any, like, I don't know, there's, it's too personal, of course, but if you'd like to, is there a personal experience or memory or story that you'd have to share with us that's either like your most honorable moment or funniest moment in your past? certainly, I don't want to put you on the spot there, but, just something a little more about Miss Kirk that, from her past, life that, we may not have known.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. So, yeah. So, let's see. So I'm trying to think what would be. One of my favorite things in life, I love to collect adventures. We've done a lot of traveling. I love to travel. I love to get to see and have cool experiences with different people while traveling. So I'm trying to think what would be one of my favorite stories here. Let's see. Let's see. Maybe I'll share just a couple, and then you can kind of edit and choose what.
Okay. Or just put them all on there.
Okay. There we go. So one story that's kind of a funny one for me. So growing up in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, I absolutely had this obsession with Bon Jovi. He was, huge, and I was a preteen, and I was super into him, had a poster of him, thought he was amazing. And honestly, if I had known that in my lifetime I would ever meet Bon Jovi, I would have been great, I had an awesome life, period. I wouldn't need to know anything else about my life course. It'd just be duh, you're going to meet Bon Jovi someday. And I've been all right, done. It's, it'll be a good one. So, the years pass, I become a teenager. I'm not as into Bon Jovi, that kind of thing. And then I was working in Washington, D.C. So one of my dreams, I had 3 dreams going in. I wanted to really affect change as an adult. I wanted to have a great family, which I married a little older than I thought. And so my course was a little different than I thought it would be. But one of the things I wanted to do was, I wanted to own my own little business, and I wanted to work downtown, in a big environment where they're doing a lot to affect change. And so I moved to Washington, D.C. I got a job a few blocks from the White House. I was loving being involved in what was happening in the White House and what was happening in our agency, and got to see a lot of cool things happen there. So one of the things that came up was Bon Jovi was our spokesperson for our agency. And so one day I'm going to the elevator, I click the button, and off walks Bon Jovi, and I'm like, what?
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yes. So then later that night, I was supposed to go to a party for work, and he was at the party. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Here I am. And he and I ended up walking out of the building at the same time. We were waiting for our cars at the same time, just kind of side by side through the whole thing. And, he was talking with the group and everything a little bit. And I just kind of remember thinking, this is just a totally normal guy. He's just some guy, it's Bon Jovi, but he's just some regular guy. And it was kind of nice because it sort of cut that sense of some people have this awesome, amazing life and turn out to be people. We worship our pop culture in the U.S. And I realized, nope, he's just an ordinary guy who happens to do a job that a lot of people see. And it was nice. I sort of had this peace with that, that preteen teenager in me that really loved and looked up to all these people and realized, choose something meaningful in your life, find a way to do something to love others and make the world a better place. And that's what's actually meaningful.
Okay. Wow. That is a cool story. I'm going to have to hope you don't mind if I share that outside of just this interview, because that's something I totally could put into speeches and all kinds of papers and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, that's a great story. So I think we might be running a little short on time, but one last question. What is something that first? What is one thing that you love about Williamsburg? What is one thing that you would like to have? One thing you would like to see in Williamsburg's future?
Yeah, so one thing that I love about this work, community friends and mentors, and the faculty are some of my very best friends. We all see each other, whenever we can. We're, really dear friends, and we feel so privileged to work with the most incredible, dedicated students and their families, and to work with a team of students who are really A players. They come, they say, they own their own education. They want to be, they take it seriously what their role is in this life and what they need to give back. So that is absolutely my favorite thing. I love our community. What I would love to see in the future of WA, I would love to see our students taking what they've learned and being leaders in their future homes and in the world. So making the world a better place in their own ways and spheres and with their own personal talents. And I would love to see, whenever I see our alums at Elevation in different places, they're just incredible. They're doing the coolest things, and they're living really deeply meaningful lives. And so, I just want to see more of that as we go. That's the whole payoff that's why I'm here. That's why our faculty is here. It's because we want to make the world a greater place by empowering awesome, dedicated students.
All right. Thank you so much. It's been really nice meeting you and getting to know you a little better. And I'm sure that all of our students and we're hoping to have some people from outside the school see it, and some of the parents and so forth, and kind of get to know you better. And there's definitely a lot you can have to share. And I really gives me confidence in Williamsburg and its teachers. So thank you so much.